Alright, welcome back everybody to another trading video here. I didn't make many videos last week, even though I did trade on Wednesday and Thursday. Made a little bit of money both days. I made a video on Wednesday actually, I just didn't upload it, and then Thursday I did not make a video about my trades then. But I will get into the trade that I made today on CEI here. I've talked about this one. It's been running quite a bit for the last like week and a half, 2 weeks now, up from under $1 even, or $1.50 or so, and has spiked up to almost $5 a share. And then today was kind of the big crash that I feel like everyone was kind of waiting for. I'm not sure why this is not actually on the daily view here. All right, here we go. So as you can see, we've had the big spike. We've had a few red days in a row, but you could have played bounces in all these days. It's held up pretty well above 3, and then today was kind of its big drawdown here. So we'll just get into this. As you can see, I wasn't really watching it too much in the morning unless it had a good move, and then I was looking at it in case it got back over 350, and just right out of the gate it got destroyed. And then we had a huge sell-off here. We got a halt for volatility, another sell-off pretty much right out of the halt, and then it did bounce, halted again. So I stayed out of all of this. And then we get all the way down to $1 and finally get some sort of bounce here. And then we get this long halt for almost 2 hours, like an hour and a half or so. And this was actually a halt because of pending news. And then they basically just released a press release just saying that they are, they believe that they're a good business and they're trying to push forward their business as they normally would, even though their stock's been going crazy. They have nothing to do with it. A lot of people were kind of expecting an offering on it, so I think that's kind of what led to this crash. And then this news release, people were expecting an offering, and it came out, crashed again, another little halt, bounced, another halt there. And then this is where I entered it, right at $1.40 here. Let's see, the exact time was at 254, and I got in just 100 shares there. So at 254, right here on this candle, once we start coming back and pushing this halted level. And I didn't really have a risk level on this one. I probably would have cut it if we got under here. That is a lot wider of a risk than I would have liked, all the way down to $1.10. But I just felt like we've had such big selling pressure and such a huge sell-off today that most of that selling pressure was already going to be gone, especially because we found out that it wasn't actually an offering. And in my mind, I was just like, if anyone shorted this up here and they didn't cover all the way down at $1 and didn't cover before this halt, right now they would be covering, so that's bringing in buyers. Obviously some people definitely got stuck with a huge loser here, so maybe they're cutting their loss. But let's be honest, if you're buying up in the 3s and you didn't cut it, breaking 275, and you didn't get out here, those are the type of people that are probably buying to try and average down and just make their loss a little bit worse. So that was basically my thesis for entering, was just that the selling pressure had kind of gone away and people were just going to be looking for a dip buy. So I got in at 140 and I sold out in pieces. Basically I took off some like right at 145, just as we were kind of struggling there. And the one thing about CEI that I'm just not used to trading really is, if we look at it here, it has this 104 million float. So when we watch the level 2 on it, which is this stuff here, this is, you can see it has like 145,000 on the ask, or on the bid I mean. But when it was trading out of that halt, the ask, we were having like 400,000 shares there, and that was just a ton of size. Whereas most things that I trade, well, this is going to be really illiquid today, but like even BTBT, you can see this is just like 1,400 and a few hundred, and it is after hours now, so there's generally less volume. But just seeing like hundreds and thousands of shares on the ask, I'm just not used to kind of waiting and watching a stock grind through that much buying or asking size there. So I did take off a little size at the 145 level, just 10 shares at a time here. You can see 145, 145, then we were pushing 150, so I took off a little there. Then 146 and 148 I got rid of. So at this point I had got rid of half of my position there, and I was holding the rest to get through that 150 level, which we did. And then I was able to get out some, let's see, I know, okay, so the only canceled one, I was trying to get off some. If we pushed to 170, I was going to sell at 169 there. But I ended up canceling that order and selling out at 157, kind of on a dip. I should have held on to it looking back, but this was a little bit after 3 o'clock here when we pushed through that 150 level and I started taking size off. So, right into this push here, like I said, I had that order for 169, but we pushed up and kind of were bouncing off of 165 and just had huge size there. And I mean, as you can see how much we did sell off here, even though we did get a bounce and I, thought a lot of the selling pressure was gone, there's still, I mean, look, you get this bounce here and then a huge crash. So just because it's so far down on the day, I didn't have like a ton of confidence in a huge run. I was confident in some sort of bounce, and I was making 10% on only $1.40 entry. You only need it to get to 154 to make 10%. So we were over that level, and I'm happy selling up in that 160 area. Even though we didn't get to that 169 spot that I had, we did shortly after push back through and touch like 173 right here. But just look at this giant red candle. I didn't want to just be hanging around like hoping to get out at 169 and then have this huge red candle come and just wipe out my gains, or just get all the way back down to break even. A few times I did think about trying to re-enter down on these pulls to like the low 150s, but I just, like I said, I was confident in some sort of bounce. I just wasn't sure how big it would be. But overall, it was a little over a 10% gain. So I'll take that on a stock that was so beaten down on the day. Usually I won't trade something that's been just killed like this and halted so many times. I don't generally try to dip buy stuff like this, but I don't know, this was just kind of an exception where you don't see stocks get halted and destroyed like this so often. So played that bounce. The only other stock, well, not the only one I was watching, but the only one that really stayed in play today was BTBT, and that's because of the huge run that we had on Bitcoin today, back over 51,000 on Bitcoin. And so this is a Bitcoin related stock here. It is a low floater. I think only about 4.5 million float on BTBT, and I was looking at it actually right in this area here. At the 940 level is where I was trying to get an entry, right around here, and just kind of risking on VWAP. I didn't end up entering. I had something for work at 2 o'clock, so I didn't want to get in when we were on such low volume compared to earlier in the day, and then just have it kind of fade while I was caught up with something else. So I didn't enter, and then by that time, CEI, 3 o'clock, 2:45 is when CEI unhalted and kind of had my attention. So I kind of missed when it started getting that volume increase and really broke out. But at the end of the day, from 9:40 to 10:43, because I wouldn't have held into after hours, that's just about a 10% gain too. So pretty similar to CEI is what I would have got from a percentage standpoint. Who knows how many shares I would have got in BTBT. Obviously, only 100 shares in CEI at 140 is just a $140 position, whereas BTBT getting in at $9.40, if I would have only bought 10 to 15 shares of that for the same position size as CEI, the win would have been about the same. I would have bought more size than just 10 to 15, but probably not a whole 100 shares. I'm not too upset about missing this one. The percent was about the same. I wish I would have just sized up a little bit more on CEI, but I was just a little bit hesitant because of how big of a sell-off we had today. But as of right now, I'm not sure if CEI will be in play tomorrow. Maybe red to green if it can kind of get back over that 150 level, but it might just be kind of, the fun might be over here for CEI. As you can see, just a huge sell-off the last few days. And BTBT though, if Bitcoin stays strong overnight and into tomorrow, I can definitely see this on a red to green move, or just breaks of high a day tomorrow. This has ran, every time Bitcoin runs, this gets huge runs, but you do get some big sell-offs, and Bitcoin trades 24 hours, so you just really never know. You know, it's over 51,000 and Bitcoin was looking strong into the close today, but if something happens overnight with Bitcoin and it falls back below 50,000, then you'll just wake up tomorrow to a huge gap down on BTBT. So I don't really look to swing crypto stocks, but I will be watching it tomorrow if Bitcoin is still up and running. BMRA was another one. You can see I had these two alerts go off and I just wasn't home at the time, so missed that good run up. But I mean, CEI was the main play for me, or the only play for me today. Sized out of that one relatively well, so happy with the trade here. And that is it for me. I will talk to you guys next time.